Alright, so if you're wondering why I'm all dressed up with a backpack on, ready to leave the apartment at 12:30 in the morning, I'm asking myself the same thing. Alright, let me backtrack. The first stage of my journey would consist of walking to 40th Street Station to catch the MFL train. Unfortunately, at 1 in the morning when I needed to catch it, there's no train running. It's a bus. It's the MF Owl, which I love. But at this point, it was one of the most crowded SEPTA buses I had been on in my life, and that's kind of saying something. So I would take the MF Owl bus to the Spring Garden station to catch the Flixbus at just the crustiest bus stop in history, which isn't even a bus stop. It's just a stop on the road where you get on the bus under the bridge. But anyway, there was some construction, so I practically had to beg the bus driver to let me off at Spring Garden. And I almost missed the Flixbus, but I didn't. I got on just as it was pulling up. So that was the first lucky stroke of the night. Against seemingly every odd, I made it to my bus. The bus ride would pass from Philly to Norfolk, going through Delaware, Maryland, D.C., and Eastern Virginia on the way. We'd be stopping in Richmond to transfer to another bus that would take me the rest of the way to Norfolk. On the way out, we got some great views of the Philly skyline and the Philly sports stadiums. This was Baltimore, Maryland. And this was a brief glimpse of Washington, D.C. If you squint in the distance, you can see the Capitol and the Washington Monument in the top right. D.C. had some pretty epic row homes as well. Pretty soon we were rolling into DC's Union Terminal and bus station. After a quick midnight stop in DC, we were back on the road and heading south. Here's a much better shot of the Washington Monument. In only a few short hours, we were pulling into Richmond, Virginia, home of the minor league baseball team, the Richmond Flying Squirrels. At this point, unbeknownst to me before we got here, we had to transfer to another bus, which honestly was much more painless than you would expect. We made a quick stop at Williamsburg, Virginia's gorgeous Amtrak station, which was absolutely crawling with city buses as well. well before 10 o'clock had even rolled around, we were crossing the Chesapeake Bay. And with that, the first bus leg of my journey came to a close. I stepped off at the Ballantine Broad Creek Tide Station in Norfolk, Virginia. After getting off the bus in Norfolk, I still wouldn't quite be home free. I'd hop on the Tide Line, the Norfolk Area Light Rail, and ride it to its eastern terminus at Newtown Road. From there, I'd have the option of taking one of two buses all the way to Virginia Beach.
Alright, so after a chaotic bus ride in which I didn't get as much work done as I wanted to and maybe slept maybe a total of 2.5 hours, we are in Norfolk, Virginia, about to head east on the Tide Line, which is the Norfolk Light Rail. Then I'm gonna pick up, man, it is loud out here, pick up the number 20 bus to take me all the way into Virginia Beach. And more to come on that. Let's keep the adventure rolling.
An all-access transit day pass was only $4.
Made it to Newtown Road. This is definitely not like a Philly transportation center, but it's nice. There's shelters, and like I know there are buses now. So, and there's a 7-Eleven right across the street, and I haven't had any coffee yet. So, I think that's the next stop. Another day in pedestrian paradise. Dude, that 7-Eleven was a banger. That was like on par with Quick Trip or a suburban Wawa. It had a giant like cooler of like tall boys of beer just right in the middle of everything. As many coffee kiosks as you wanted. It was like the little self-serve espresso machines. It was sweet. They had caramel cream. They had my favorite like caramel macchiato cream for my coffee. So I'm a happy man now. I didn't know that they sold Bud Light Platinum seltzers in tallboy form. So, just saying, it is right by the bus stop, and I have a long ride home after this track meet. So, I do believe I see my bus pulling into the station, so I better hustle. So there's the 20 bus that I could have taken, but it would take like an hour for me to get to Virginia Beach. There's a can of hams in the road. But the one I actually want to take is the 960 bus, which is, I don't know if it's like an express or what, but Google Maps says it gets me there like 20 minutes faster than the number 20 bus, so I'm not too pressed about missing that one.
Sure enough, the 960 was an express right to Virginia Beach.
Against all odds, we made it. Now I just gotta get in the door.
Watching some of the best athletes in Division III compete at the national level was exactly as crazy an experience as you'd expect it to be. I'm so glad I made this trip, even if I just hung out for a couple hours. It was incredible.
time at the 2024 NCAA D3 Track and Field Indoor Championships comes to a close because I have a bus and then a train and then another bus to catch, and maybe do some sleeping, probably not. And I also have eaten nothing but a mushy turkey sandwich since, like, God, whenever, and some very disappointing Nashville hot pretzel pieces that are not as good as the buffalo or the honey mustard ones. So if you see the big flashy guitar on the bag of your Snyder's pretzel pieces, don't fall for it. That being said, I'm gonna go wander to Virginia Beach's Vibe Creative District, which looks sweet, and there's a couple restaurants. We'll see which one's less busy. It's either gonna be Chinese or this sub place, but that's the next stop.
Alright, spoiler alert, there was no Vibe Creative District. I had to catch my bus and I was getting real nervous about the time. So I just hopped on, but we did get a little visual tour of Virginia Beach. I wish it wasn't pouring rain all day, because it would have been awesome to see the actual shoreline in this fun little town in full tourist mode.
Alright, we're back at Newtown about an hour before I originally wanted to be here, but I can't complain because I would have been really, really stressing because the other bus was delayed, so I'm not mad about this. No fancy local stuff, womp womp. But good news is there's still the really nice 7-Eleven, so guess where I'm heading. You know what? What can I say? I got chicken sandwich. I got the train station ranger. Like, what else could I want? I am homeward bound, baby.
Homeward bound indeed. After hopping on the Tide line, it would pretty much be just a complete reverse trip of what I did earlier that morning. Getting on the Flixbus again at Ballotine and Broad Creek, taking it all the way back to Philly, and then hopefully hopping on the MFL right around 5 a.m. It was the exact same bus, too. You could tell because of the blinking seatbelt light.
Sounds right. Right. We are off the bus. But we just have one more leg of the journey, and that is, it starts with waiting for the MF Owl bus for another 20 minutes. And boy, am I excited to do that.
Okay, in all reality, it was really only more like 15 minutes. Maybe 10. I'm being a little dramatic. And we got on the bus, and pretty soon we were back at 40th Street.
Alright, I lied. The real last leg of the journey is the legs themselves. We are just walking home. Actually, earlier than I expected, that bus got there quick. It's only not even 5 a.m. yet. I got probably a good 5 hours of sleep before work today, this morning. But yeah, that's a wrap on the whirlwind weekend at D3 Nationals. And thanks for following along. And hopefully the next adventure, I'll be the one participating in athletic activities. But until next time.